Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a special President's Cup edition of the 19th hole. We are live in between media, sports, lifestyle, everything in between, team golf, match play, our favorite format. It's Team USA against international. So I think that's anywhere except for United States or Europe, which would be the Ryder Cup next year at Bethpage Black. We're in Royal Montreal in Canada for the President's Cup. Let's hit it. All right, bonjour. We are at Royal Montreal for the President's Cup. Team USA versus Team Everywhere But. Conor Coughlin. I'm sure many of our viewers thought they were rid of us until the end of the year for the Century Tournament of Champions in Hawaii. Not so fast, my friend. We have team match play golf. Isn't that exciting?
That is exciting, and it's about the only thing that would have gotten us off the couch for golf, I think, right now. So
exactly, that goes without saying.
I appreciate the bonjour intro. Always rely on you to be
even Tim Burke isn't sick of us yet.
You'd think that he would be sick of me, but apparently not.
Right. Yep. Well, it's the third day of fall here in NorCal, and it's 100 degrees. It's outstanding, right?
It's going to be in the 80s here all week too, which is kind of surprising. A little colder at night though.
That's nice.
We're getting there. Football's going on. I had some heartbreaking parlays fall through thanks to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Trevor Lawrence,
they looked awful.
He's on the island with Tom Hoagie.
That's not good. I ironically did quite well yesterday thanks to a tandem known as Josh Allen and Khalil Shakir. Great tidings there.
I was just happy Coleman got in the end zone. That made me feel good.
Yeah. He got suspended for the first quarter for being late to a meeting.
It's coming off as a bit of a punk, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I like him. He's funny. I don't know if he's good, but he's really funny.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, I don't do football because I'm not good at it, but Bo does a lot of football. So if you're not following Bo, you should be following Bo for football.
Yeah, you should go to Fantasy Pros YouTube too and check out my waiver wire ads video out today. And waivers are tonight, so you better get on it. But we're doing golf tonight. President's Cup, Team USA heavily favored according to DraftKings Sportsbook. You have a minus 320 line for Team USA to retain the President's Cup at Royal Montreal in Quebec, Canada. It's an interesting golf course. Is it interesting, Connor? Or is it just different?
I think it's interesting because it's different.
All right.
I don't know. I think what's going to be nice about this course is it's gonna really like put the players on display. I think we're going to get all the like kind of heated, like fiery, like back and forth, which I think if nothing else, it's going to be a good watch.
I think because we're used to in Ryder Cup and President's Cup golf is a rowdy crowd. I'm not sure I picture that in stuffy Quebecois fandom for the international team. I think there's going to be a lot of red, white, and blue just across the border in Montreal. I don't know that we're going to get the same raucous fandom from the Quebecois that we are usually used to in this format.
Well, we can cross our fingers. I don't want to let down, so I'm going to give extensive.
Come on, Canada. We know most of our viewers are Canadian. I need you to show out for this.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll just have to tap our Canadian viewers and get them out there, get everybody fired up. Although I think it's a bit of a drive for all of them.
Yeah, into French Canada, it's a little different. I'm not actually drinking anything. I just got off work and I don't even have a water jug next to me. Are you drinking?
Just firing up a little
Fearless.
as we were
That's a great
discussing,
bottle. Great
it's an
bottle.
excellent bottle. And as you and I were discussing, we both have been very, very busy in our professional lives. So can't be getting too popped on the show tonight. I got work to do.
Yeah. Well, that's always good. Yeah. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you and your no drink. Appreciate that.
I'll take care of that after the show. Let's hit the drop for caddy notes. I want to hear you wax poetically about Royal Montreal in Quebec. All right. Tell us about it, Connor.
I did want to call out, we're going to have some new drops, new entertainment next season. Like that may be the last time viewers get to see that drop. We'll see.
I like that one.
I do like that one. But anyways, Royal Montreal in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. It's a par 70, 7,279 yards. Event was hosted here in 2007 when the Americans were victorious, which I presume they will be again this year. Royal Montreal is kind of more of a tree line course, a little tighter fairways, a little shorter. You're looking, like we said, about 7,279 yards. I think what's going to be interesting about this is that I don't know that any certain type of player has an advantage here. You're going to have some holes that are going to allow some guys to kind of bomb away, but by and large, you're going to need a really solid approach game no matter what. So it's a lot of second shot stuff, which we've been talking about a lot more recently with some of the course selections coming down the home stretch. So yeah, look for good iron guys. I think they've done some lengthening to this course. Don't think that that's a big deal. Again, at 7,200, not monstrous. The greens are significantly smaller than tour average. You're looking at bent grass and kind of a Poana mixture.
Oh, so it's Pebble Beach in Canada.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, some of the comparisons that I've seen are like Colonial.
Okay, yeah.
Came up a couple of times, but
Quail Hollow.
I do think there's some similarities to both of those.
Harbor Town.
Yeah, Harbor Town would be a definite one in my mind. But to be real with you, I don't think that this is going to be an overly difficult course. We were kind of talking about it in the pre-show. I think that players are going to be on display here, which actually for team golf is a little more what I want. Like there are times where I like the carnage that Bo talks about with like a really tough track, and this just really is not that situation. So I think look for guys that can shoot the lights out on approach and really try and find guys that are going to play all 5 sessions, which is kind of the tricky part with this format, which is probably more what we should talk about. 4-day event. The first 3 days, you're looking at a split between foursomes and 4 balls. And then going into Sunday, you're going to have the single matches. So
2 ball.
So yeah. So I think what's interesting, similar to Ryder Cup, is trying to pin down who you think is going to get the most run, because all of our bets are going to be tied to the point scoring. So you need them on the course to score points. Same with DFS too. To a certain extent, you need guys that are going to get at least 4 of the sessions. You want 5 if you can. But typically you're not going to have monster blowouts from a guy who's only going to play 3 of the sessions. That's going to be able to take your roster to the top. So definitely as you get closer to lock, as more of the head-to-heads are announced, you get more of a feel for who's going to play what. That's when you really want to dive into these and get your bets in your DFS set.
Yeah, well, right now we have the lines are set for top point scorer, which team's going to win each day, and then overall top American point score, top international point score. And you get a half a point for a tie in a match, and you get a full point for winning a match. And if you lose a match, guess how many points you get, Connor? 0. That's correct. He is correct.
Yes.
Every time. Way to stay on your toes there, Connor. Shocking favorite to be the top point scorer is some guy named Scottie Scheffler at plus 600. Any reason why we shouldn't pick Scottie Scheffler to be the top point scorer overall, not just for Team USA, but overall plus 600. For Team USA point score, it's plus 400.
I can't come up with one if you can. And I also think that he's pretty much a lock to play all 5 sessions. So
Right. Yeah. If the captain doesn't put Scottie Scheffler on the course all 4 days, there's something wrong.
yeah, I think and when you look at the guys right around him too, like you got Xander at plus 700, you got Colin at plus 800, Cantlay at plus 900. It's not
And
enough.
Burns at plus 11. Like you don't get to a Europe international player till Tom Kim at 16-1. And
Who I
Sung Jae.
actually am like super high on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you look at the American guys, especially here, they're all clustered in that same type of odds range. And I really, Scotty just is demonstrating to just be the truth. I mean, really, there's no argument that he is the best player on the planet. I think we probably haven't seen a run like this since Tiger Woods in 2000. I mean, he's playing incredible golf.
We haven't seen a lot of match play from Scotty, which doesn't make me apprehensive at all. It just seems like we might be overlooking some of the other players with great match play history, like Colin Morikawa, like Patrick Cantlay, like Xander Schauffele. Those guys, outstanding Ryder Cup records.
Well, you look at Max Homa too, 4-0 in match play.
Yeah, Max Homa though a little bit less so because he's had one of the worst years of his career. Bad form all the way through. It still wasn't bad by most player standards, but for Max Homa standards, 16-1 seems even a little bit long or a little bit short for him. And I'd much rather play one of these international players, Sung Jae, Tom Kim, Hideki Matsuyama plus 1600 in match play. That seems nice. This guy's a well-rounded player. You're not going to see him get overwhelmed by the moment as very experienced veteran player. I can kind of see that with Tom Kim because maybe he's not the standout great track record because he's so young, but he's so good, and this course sets up well for him. I just think if you're going to go with a international player, I'm probably going to look at either Kim, but more likely Hideki Matsuyama to be the top point scorer. If we get surprises, I mean, it's this deck is stacked super heavy for the United States for good reason. It's a really stacked team. It's much more stacked than Zach Johnson's Ryder Cup team was last year. What a travesty of a terribly built team that was, and that's
about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is this is different in that you don't get the Europeans, you get the Canadians, the Australians, and the Asians playing on the international team, and the Europeans that put up a huge fight against Team USA, like your John Rahm, your Rory McIlroy, some of these guys that are obviously top 10 golfers in the world rankings. You don't get too much of that with the international team, but I do think that they can surprise in some of these matches where, I mean, Sahith Theegala is on Team USA at 20-1. That's a sleeper.
The thing with Sahith, though, that worries me a little bit is I just don't know if he'll get the amount of sessions that we need.
Yeah, because I mean that team is so stacked that where are they gonna, unless he goes out and just storms, like if you get one of these guys in that middle range that has a great first 2 days, that forces the captain's hand to kind of put them into that final. I mean, everybody plays on Sunday, but for that third day, that's where you're going to see the best golfers from the first 2 days get their extra opportunities, and the guys that struggled the first 2 days probably won't be playing much on Saturday. That's the pivotal day for this format is Saturday, when the captains kind of have to see who's playing well and who's not.
When you mentioned Tom Kim, and last time we were at the President's Cup, I mean, Tom Kim didn't play tremendously well, but he was like the spark for the international team on Saturday. I mean, he came out and absolutely wrecked shop.
Yep.
And so I think what's really interesting about Tom Kim in this range is that he's a more well-rounded, more seasoned veteran type of golfer at this point. Plus, he's still got all that fire. And we never say anything bad about Tom Kim when we're at a course that requires less distance, more accuracy. And that's even with kind of a lackluster season, Tom Kim is rating out in the top 10 for every single approach bucket we look at. He's
good.
Absolutely nails on. I mean, it's really hard to make an argument that Tom Kim isn't going to see more play than some of these other guys. And realistically, he's got a chance because he's got the approach game that stacks up against your Scheffler, Schauffele, Morikawa guys. So yeah, I'm really, really high on Kim at 1,600. I'm super high on Hideki, like you mentioned as well, same number. It's about where I stop. I might throw a couple stabs at Adam Scott just because of recent form,
Mm-hmm.
and that veteran, match play mentality. He's got a decent record in match play. So Adam Scott at plus 1,800 might not be a bad look, but you start getting into these guys past there, I just don't know that they're going to get on the course enough, and that's a little scary.
You know who I could see getting hot enough to earn some more sessions is a guy like Corey Connors. Like, he comes out hot, making birdies the first day. He's going to force his way into that international slot, preferred slot as their go-to guy. Team Canada. I mean, I don't see that happening with Mackenzie Hughes or the other Canadians on this roster. Taylor Pendrith. I don't see that. I don't see it from Minwoo Lee because his approach game's so terrible. I can kind of see it with Jason Day, but he's not had a great season. He started off hot and then fizzled. Adam Scott kind of was the opposite, where he started off slow and he's been great lately. But Corey Connors at plus 2,500 is a sneaky one. I don't know if it happens, but I can see him coming out really hot, guns a-blazing with his ball striking. And if he starts getting a hot putter, which sometimes he does, if he gets a hot putter, that's a guy who can pay off hugely for the international team. Because, I mean, as far as their team goes, there's not much class. There's no elite class like the Team USA. We have 4 top golfers on their team, and international team kind of starts with Hideki and kind of trickles down from there. It's a big edge for Team USA, but that also means that we get a little bit of a nice odds bump from the international team if they do end up surprising us.
No, I couldn't disagree with you. Corey Connors is actually in my column too, as an additional guy on my card. I like him in DFS a lot too.
He's
And
smart. He's smart.
Corey Connors too. I mean, we joke every week. We got to throw one out for our Canadian listeners, but Corey Connors has been kind of a staple in most of our pools coming down the stretch. So I think he's going to keep rolling. And really, the things you love about Corey Connors is just he's nails on approach. And though he's not necessarily the best putter, he does rate out in the top 5 in this field for avoiding 3 putts. Why is that important here? Because difference between a 2 and a 3 putt is having a hole. So you want guys that they don't have to be lights out. They just can't be giving them away to who they're competing against. So that's a little more Corey Connors game. So I like Corey Connors a lot too.
He's plus 800 to be the top international team point scorer.
Which
I like that line.
I like that line a lot too. The guy that's way down here that's piqued my interest though is Russell Henley at 40 to 1 to be the top point scorer. Russell Henley rates out 3rd in my modeling versus the last
Pebble Beach comp. Russell Henley is going to be there.
Well,
it's a short course that rewards accuracy on a short approach game. Weird.
Yeah, and he is arguably the most accurate guy, probably maybe not in the field, but he's definitely up there. And if you look what he did coming down the stretch, I mean, 30th at the St. Jude, 22nd at the BMW, 4th at the Tour Championship, and truthfully, where he was losing strokes was off the tee, and part of that is that he's not a distance guy. He just wasn't being able to keep up with some of the big dogs. But when you put him in a situation that requires excellent approach, that's him. Around the green game is stellar. He, as a matter of fact, Tour Championship, he gained 4.5 strokes to the field. Having a hell of a season too. I mean, several top 10s, a bunch of top 5s. It's just every time you looked, Russell Henley was popping up. So to your point about somebody coming out and being hot that could earn a few more rounds, I think Russell Henley is a prime candidate to do something like that here.
I'm still kind of mad that they picked Keegan Bradley to be on this team over Akshay Bhatia, because Akshay Bhatia would wreck this golf course.
Yeah, I wish Akshay was here.
Oh my God, we'd be all over that, because I mean, talk about wedge approach buckets. This is Akshay's exact type of course where he would dominate, and that's a guy that would be somewhere down in that 25 to 30 range that we could really attack the lines with. But alas, we get Keegan Bradley, who looked good one time in the playoffs. Good for you, Keegan. But in the long run, I don't know.
Well, the biggest knock about all these guys, once you get past truly Adam Scott, like from Sahith down, you either have distance issues or you got accuracy off the tee issues. And so a lot of these guys, with the exception of getting down there, again, Russell Henley would be the exception in that bucket, or Corey Connors. But the rest of them are just, they've got challenges on accuracy. And though this is an easy course, I think, and a shorter course, it's still, you need accuracy. And you're approaching into like very small greens, like we mentioned. So some of these guys are just going to
sure sounds like Scottie Scheffler's kind of game. Sure feels like that.
Yeah, I just can't see anybody down here outside of maybe Tony Finau, who could show up and just get a hot hand. Tony does get hot
for sure. For sure.
But
he's the American Corey Connors.
Yeah, with the exception of the fact that like when Tony's on, Tony seems to be able to putt too. Now when Tony's off, he's arguably worse at putting than Corey Connors is. But.
Right. But Tony Finau, when he's on, he's a top 5 golfer in the world. And when he's off, you're just like, what is he even doing here? Go home to your kids, man.
But really, I mean, I think Tony Finau, Russell Henley are candidates. Like we said, Corey Connors, maybe candidates to earn their way into some more sessions. Outside of that, I don't like throwing darts down here. Even if some of these guys do get a hot hand, they're just not consistent enough players to play all 5 sessions.
You're absolutely right. All right, so Team USA should win this thing. Do they win it, Connor?
I think they win it handily.
How many points do you give them?
You and I were talking about this beforehand. I'm not.
30 points available. They won 19 to 14.5 last time.
I think, 19.5 to 14.5 last time. I think it's probably close to that again this time. I think it's somewhere in that 19.5 range.
I think it's going to be a closer one. I think it's going to be 17 to 13. So I think international team gives them a scare on Sunday in the singles matches. I think USA gets a big lead, and then the singles matches on Sunday kind of give them a little bit of nervous energy. But then somebody at the end slams the door. I think it's somebody like Sam Burns that's been riding hot, comes out there in his singles match on Sunday, and you wouldn't think that he'd be the guy that makes that clinching putt. But I would like to see somebody like Sam Burns or Wyndham Clark, one of these second-tier USA golfers, be the one that gets to be the hero this time. That's how I see it going. I see them getting a big, nice sizable lead going to Sunday, get a little cocky, and then you got 12 singles matches on Sunday for all the marbles, and maybe Team Europe wins 8 of those. I can just see that happening where you get a little bit more that, ooh, crap, maybe USA doesn't have this.
I think you're optimistic with the internationals, but
yeah. I mean, obviously you're looking on paper. Team USA should just run through this easily, but I just have a feeling based on how they looked in the Ryder Cup last year that maybe this team isn't as good as they are on paper, and maybe we're not giving Team International enough credit.
I think that International's got some sticks, but yeah, I don't think we even get a scare. Unfortunately, I think we might have a couple of good matches to watch. But what is kind of interesting to me a little bit before we transition to DFS, I know this is kind of a shorter format show, but player to win 5 points, Scottie Scheffler plus 1,200. I think that may be one of my more favorite prop bets. I think he's gonna play all sessions.
Yeah.
And I just don't see anybody on the other side outside of maybe a Hideki Matsuyama that could beat Scottie.
Who's Scottie's partner in 4-ball and foursome is going to be? That really plays a big part of it, because if Scottie's dialed in but his partner isn't, then you're up shit creek.
Right, and I like what's weird about that is I don't know that it's going to matter tremendously who they throw him with. I think
it doesn't happen very often that anybody goes 5-0 in this format.
I think that's a really good number, though. If we were going to have somebody do it,
oh yeah. Like I'm curious though, what's Xander's line to go 5-0?
Plus 1,400.
So not much more.
But the problem with that is, it's going to be Xander or Cantlay. It's always Xander Cantlay.
Right. They're made for each other, and they're outstanding. They dominate the Ryder Cup every year, and it seems like the rest of the team is trying to just keep pace with them.
I would think if I were a betting man or if I were an intelligent coach, I would run something like Scottie. I would probably do Scottie Sahith or Scottie Brian Harmon, something like that.
Complementary skill sets.
Like, I don't think I'd want to put him out with like.
I'd put Scottie with Tony Finau.
I could see Tony Finau. I like Scottie Sahith. Like I hope I'd like to see that. I think that would work really well.
Yeah. Or put Scottie with the best putter on the team, which would be Russell Henley.
Russell Henley or
Xander.
Yeah, probably Xander.
You're not going to get Xander with Scottie, though. That'd be unbeatable.
I'm really, really interested to see who they run Morikawa out with.
That'd be an interesting one.
That's such a weird game compared to the rest of these guys, like his distances, things like that.
Yeah, Morikawa and Sahith are buddies, so I could see that one.
That would not do well, I don't think.
No. Although Sahith's short game would save Morikawa.
Yeah,
in the alternate shot, at least.
As long as Sahith could keep it like within 30 yards of the fairway, we might have a fighting.
Oh my god! All right, Colin, we just have to make it sure you're teeing off on every hole.
Come here, Colin.
Yeah, Colin, we can't afford to have Sahith hit the driver.
But yeah, that's it's kind of rare, like you said, that you find a guy who has a shot at getting all 5 points. And I know in previous years of doing this, we really haven't had a prime candidate to do it. I think Scottie represents a true possibility here.
Yeah.
So I just thought I'd throw that one out.
All right, you want to hit the drop for trunk slams? I didn't do club twirls, but that's okay. Trunk slams is fun, just for the DFS portion.
I would love to.
All right.
The club as well. This would be a wrestling slam.
All right. DFS wise, let's breeze through this. It's not much to work on right now because we don't know who's playing each other. We know pricing, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think, and what's interesting too is it's a captain format. I will go over the DFS scoring real quick because it is a little bit different for people that haven't done one of these match plays before.
They call it cup.
So in DFS, a hole one gets your player 3 points, a hole tied gets them 0.75 points, a hole lost loses 0.75 points. Holes not played are 1.6 points per hole. Matches won is 5 points. Match tied is 2 points. If they win 3 consecutive holes in a row, it's 5 points. They can only do that once per session. Yep. No holes lost in a match does grant them a bonus of 7.5. So a little bit different than your typical DFS scoring if you haven't done one of these match plays before. So again, the name of the game is to find guys that you think are going to have blowouts. That's why it's important to wait to see what the matches are going to end up being.
Yeah, because you can't have the same guy from the same team on the same lineup.
So far, they haven't adjusted that on this one. I've built a couple of lineups. I don't know how
it's gonna mark it invalid once they do post it.
I would think so, but we'll see how it goes. Right now they're letting you set whatever, but again, I'm not setting anything hard and fast until I see who's playing who and who's playing with who. But
exactly,
these points are definitely a pretty good guide to how you want to how you kind of want to like strategize your matches. So all that to say, Scottie Scheffler should be your captain in every single lineup. So there you go, $17,400, which is
Chalk City.
But realistically, I think he's got the highest upside of anybody. It doesn't really matter who you pair him with. I think Xander and Cantlay are close, but I don't know that I trust that. They've had some ups and downs in their partnership recently in the last like the Ryder Cup. It wasn't stellar this
thanks
time
to Patrick.
And truthfully, Cantlay's season's kind of been
terrible.
Yeah, kind of trash. So I don't know that I want to pay 16-2 for Xander. And I can't play Cantlay. You know what I mean? Xander would be the alternative to Scottie, but 16-2, I'll find the money and go up to Scottie here.
Yep. And you're going to be having to get really creative down below because everybody's going to have Scottie Scheffler as their captain. I think if you go with the kind of like I do a lot of showdown NFL and NCAA single game, it's similar to this where you get the captain that's 1.5 times the salary and you get 1.5 times the points. Some people like to do the strategy where they put that top golfer in their lineup but not as the captain, just so they can afford more top players. I think I'll go down as far as Tom Kim at 12,000 as my captain. And I'll also have a little bit of Sam Burns as a captain, just so I can load up on Scottie and Xander or Scottie and Coughlin or Scottie and Hideki, because those guys need to be in the lineup. And I don't know that you can afford all of them if you have Scottie as the captain. It might not matter because if Scottie wins all of his matches, then you're going to be sitting pretty either way. But I definitely want Scottie in the lineup. It's dumb to exclude him. But if you are going with that alternate strategy, maybe in a larger field tournament where you want to get more of those guys in, your cheaper captains, Sam Burns, Tom Kim, those are some really strong plays. Down below there, if you go super duper cheap, we talked about it. Corey Connors only 8,400 to be your captain. Russell Henley 7,500 to be your captain. You can afford whoever you want if you start with those guys. That's just an alternate strategy. I think the Scheffler thing is more of a cash game strategy, which in the cup format, maybe you just do some cash games or single entry tournaments. Keep it close to the vest, have some action for watching the festivities and having a little bit of skin in the game. It's always fun to do that. But you do you.
I think the only reason that I'm so gung-ho Scottie as your captain is I think it's all but guaranteed he'll play all 5 sessions. So
right.
That's where it does get a little bit tricky. Like to Bo's point, I love Russell Henley as a captain's pick if you're trying to get a little different and you're playing in those bigger tournaments. I think Russell Henley really has a chance, like we talked about in the betting segment, to earn his way into a few more sessions. So, and it's a ton of savings and you can really stack your other 5 golfers. So you can win with a captain that doesn't play all sessions. You just better hope that they score a lot of points in the ones they do, because when you've got a guy like Scottie up top who's gonna probably score a lot of points and play all the sessions, it's going to be tough to overcome that at 1.5 times his points.
Seems tough.
But I do like Tom Kim and Russell Henley. Those are my 2 alternates as well if I'm trying to get a little bit different.
I just found a really fun one.
I like the upside of Colin Morikawa. I just wish I knew who he was playing with. He really came on towards the end of the season. He's been playing great golf. This seems like a course that would be very Colin Morikawa. You need a lot of iron play, a lot of accuracy. He, believe it or not, even though his putter is just terrifying to watch in action, he's another guy that doesn't 3-putt a whole lot.
Right.
So
he's an aggressive putter, and I think that's key, is that he's going to go for making it, but he's good enough to where if he doesn't make it, he's going to be tapping in. And that goes to show he doesn't make a ton of birdies all the time. When he does, he wins. And when he doesn't, he's not killing himself. Like, you're not seeing this guy not contend every week. He's always going to be up to the top. You don't see very many off weeks from a guy like that.
No, not at all. And you and I were kind of getting to the point where we were really on him way back in like maybe starting around April when he started really turning the corner again. Mm-hmm. It started off the season horribly. I mean,
it's because his iron play, what was he, 80th in approach? And that's nothing. That's not like him. He's usually top 5 at worst.
Well, when he missed the cut at API, I mean, it was just like,
what? It made no sense.
What are we doing? But
what he was what he was doing. he was in the water.
But then you saw him pop at like the Masters, and you're like, okay, all right, here he comes. And
then he found the water again on number 11.
But realistically, from the Masters on in, I mean, the roughest patch he had was actually the St. Jude and the BMW. Those were his 2 worst finishes from the Masters all the way through the end of the season, and then runner-up at the Tour Championship. I mean, Morikawa's kind of been on fire for months now.
And this course suits him very well.
Just scares me because, again, he is a player that is going to be very dependent on who he gets partnered with.
Right. What if we get Colin and Tony Finau? That'd be a good match.
Be a good match. I wish they would do something like Colin and Xander, or like Colin and like just break up Xander and Cantlay. Like, Cantlay has been trash. Use Xander with somebody else. Like, go, you know what I mean? Like,
I just kind of selfishly see Scottie and Colin together to see the two best iron players in the world just be on the same team and wreck shop on a course that demands precise iron play. That'd be fun. That'd be fun for everybody there. It's just say, okay, who can hit it closest to the pin on each hole? It's like, it's just going to be like, well, everybody wins.
Just throwing darts left and right
all day long.
Yeah, to be honest though, outside of the top, I don't have a lot of strong leans down at the bottom. I think Russell Henley's a staple value play in any lineup. I mean, when you look at Russell Henley, the upside of him as a captain, great. The price is fantastic. You can get him in the captain spot at 7,500, or you can just play him in your lineup at 5K. Opens up that top a lot, where you can do some stuff like Scottie and Xander in a lineup. There's a couple other values down here that we didn't talk about in betting, but have the upside to him. Ben On is somebody who towards the really actually all season played very good golf, had his approach game going at points, has a good amount of distance off the tee, little squirrely off the tee, but when he's got it going, Ben On absolutely could pop here and score you some DFS points. I don't think you're going to get as many sessions out of Ben On, but you might not need to at 4K. I mean, he's
right. You need him to not lose all of his matches.
Right. Which
just do something, Ben. And that's what scares me, is that when Ben On is on, he's making putts, and when he's off, he's the worst putter on the planet.
And he does have a mixed bag of results in match play. I think he
does
1, 2, and 8.
Yeah, it's a little iffy, but I mean that's why he's a value play.
But I mean, outside of that, like, there's nobody on the internationals that jumps off the page. I mean, Sungjae's got a really good track record of the President's Cup. He's got 2 appearances, 5, 3, and 2.
Yeah, and he's another guy that fits this course with short iron play.
Siwoo might be somebody to look at too. Like, Siwoo's actually got some pretty good match play, 4, 3, and 0. And Siwoo actually started the season really hot. He kind of fizzled. But
yeah, we were remarking about how consistent he was to start the season. Then he went back to good old plutonium Siwoo Kim, where we don't know whether he's going to miss the cut or win.
I think a lot of your value plays though reside on the international side. So I think those are the guys for DFS purposes. Definitely take a close look at who they're getting partnered with, and try and dissect how that's going to shake out the first couple of days, because I think the pricing on those guys have a lot higher upside. The only guy deep like that on the American side, really, that I think has the same type of ceiling is going to be Russell Henley, and I think he's going to be pretty chalky at 5K. So,
oh yeah. All right, well, Team USA all the way.
Team USA all the way. We we can show the hat, but the hat only has one of 2 choices, so I'm going to say the hat goes with the US here.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be right. All right, so
I will say it's very nice to see you. I wasn't sure when we were going to see each other again, so
no. Now we know, post Christmas, between Christmas and New Year, we'll see each other for the Century show, and we'll probably be passing in the hallways.
I'll probably
talking football,
sending you screenshots of my near misses.
Yeah, you need to get back on a heater in esports so that I can tail you and lose every time.
League of Legends World Championships start tomorrow, so I will have a few coming.
Send me a lineup and I'll play it.
Hockey's coming back. I do a fair amount of hockey DFS too, so I send you some of those also.
Yeah. All right. From Conor Coughlin, I am Bo McBrayer. This has been a special edition 19th hole for the President's Cup. Make sure you like, subscribe, jingle that bell. In between media, sports, media, lifestyle, everything in between. Connor, any parting words?
Till next time, friends. We'll have a new look. Same ugly faces, but hopefully some new stuff. We need new toys.
New toys.